What's going on, traders? Welcome back to another live trading video. Here I am in today in the office taking a look at CAD Swiss, and I wanted to share a little bit about this trade as well as why I am currently long on CADCHF. And this position size is not a huge one, but I'm going to get into that in a minute. But basically, let's hop over to the chart and we'll take a look here at CAD Swiss, CAD Swiss. I'm currently up just about $29 on this trade. And whether or not this is a winner or loser is less important than the reasoning, I think, behind why I'm taking the trade. So I am long on this position already. You can see the little blue arrow here. I got in right around this area. We took a little bit of heat on the trade, but actually found some support and price started to rally here. Now, overall, CAD Swiss is moving up in my favor. You can see we're getting a little bit of a pullback right now. But what I'm looking for in this position is I'm looking to see if price can basically continue to trade in this range. Now, what you'll notice here is that if we get my drawing tool, if we take a look at the arrow here, you can see we've kind of had a back and forth market. Basically, price really not too basically indecisive about which way it really wants to go. And so when price came down to this level or this low this morning, I basically caught this trade. I said, okay, you know what? I think this is a pretty good chance we catch some sort of a bounce here on CADCHF. And I entered the buy position with about 12,000 mini lots or 0.12 lots. Not a huge position. Looking to get a range back towards this upper level. Now, if price comes all the way up to this level, then I'll take $100 off the trade. No big deal. It's not, going to change the bank by any large stretch of the imagination, but it is something, and I wanted to take this trade. The reason I'm sharing this with you guys, and the reason I think it's important that we talk about in this video, is more so the twofold. Number one, the reason my position is a little bit smaller than usual here is because of the current situation with volatility. So we have quite a volatile market right now. The S&P 500 is sold off quite a bit. Currency market is going crazy, right? We have all sorts of crazy movements due to the things that are hitting the headlines. And during times like this, I usually like to decrease my position size if possible so that I am not so exposed to that high volatility. When markets start moving quite a bit, if you get caught on the wrong side, it can be a dangerous situation. And sure, if you catch the right side, it can be great. But I'd rather be more cautious with my account rather than trying to make quick money. So when CAD Swiss came down to this position, I basically picked up a buy setup. You can see currently up about $28 on the trade. Just a minute ago, we were up about 35. So we're pulling back a little bit here. And what I'm doing basically is I'm looking to see that price could make a move back to the top of this range. So I had a better chance when I took this position. Basically, price came down to the supportive level here that we recently saw. Take a look at the candle here, closed very, very bullishly, and we saw a nice little rise there. Well, when price came down to this area, I basically got in on a retest of this structure. You can see we got a little bit of a bounce. Price started to roll over, and I took another long position there, or I took a long position there, setting up for a potential rise. Well, we got these little candles here, and this is really what I wanted to also show in terms of the price action. You can see, take a look at how price underneath this level was very, very much supported, right? Sometimes when you have price come down to a supportive level, it'll try to bust through. It'll try to break through the lows to see if it can, in fact, find sellers that are willing to step in and push price lower. But in this case, we actually saw a little bit of a failure here, which in my case as a bull actually was a really, really good signal. So we saw this, it kind of confirmed my entry here and I got long, right? And so now we're starting to see the rise here. If I lose this trade, I think it's about a $25 loss, maybe a little bit more than that, which is not going to kill me by any means. Again, keeping my stop relatively tight. I placed my stop underneath the lows, again, of where that basically we found that support. You can see those three little wicks gave a little bit of insight into buyers stepping in, pushing price up. We're here on the 1 hour chart, and you can see a few hours later we shot to the upside. So again, if the trade closes out as a loss, it's not the end of the world. It's just I really wanted to share the concept and the reasoning behind this trade so that for those of you guys who like to trade ranges, maybe you get something out of this and you find something that maybe helps out in your analysis. My goal here is to basically target the top of this range in a context of, okay, well, we had a market that was very, very downtrending. So this is where we can get the bigger picture going on. Let's take a look at the 4 hour chart. You can see CAD Swiss is in fact pretty dang sold off, right? We had quite a movement to the downside. Well, we actually saw market environments change a little bit when we started to see this market catch some sort of a bounce. And the idea here is basically as markets catch some of that bounce, sometimes that can lead to a period of consolidation of back and forth market movements. And I actually like to trade this. A lot of people don't. A lot of people are not big fans of trading the range, and that's fine. But I just wanted to share this from my own personal trades. This is one trade that I'm pretty happy with, and I like the setup here, and I wanted to share it with you guys. Maybe we'll be back soon with an update here on CAD to see how the trade plays out. Whether it's a winner or a loser, I think this is a pretty good setup, and I'm happy whether it is a winner or not. Obviously, I want it to win, and obviously we all want to make money, but sometimes it's okay that, you know, you accept a good trade can be a winner in terms of money or a loser in terms of a loss of money, but you stuck to your plan, you found a setup that worked for you, and we'll see if this one plays out. Currently up just about what is that, $41 or so. So we're slightly more than a 1-to-1 locked in here. So technically at some point I could lock in my stop loss if I wanted to and kind of trail this one up just in case, because we do have some high volatility. So we'll make that decision later on and we'll see how it goes. So stay tuned. Okay, traders, so I ended up taking a loss here on CADCHF. And what I wanted to do is talk a little bit about this particular setup and why I think it didn't work out, as well as kind of behind the scenes, a little bit kind of transparency about trading. The thing is, when it comes to trading, sometimes you have really frustrating things happen to you. I'm sure many of you guys, especially if you're newer traders, I know when I was a newer trader, there was all this frustration all the time. And it's kind of frustrating to deal with losing trades. Well, in this case, you can see what actually ended up happening. So the market's moving down, right? And basically my idea here with the reason I got long on CADCHF was basically we started to see this kind of halt. We started to see buyers step in during the lows here. You can see actually pretty much this candle right here. If we can zoom in just a little bit more, that would be awesome. You can see right here, we had this level right here where basically a nice little bullish pin bar. We found buyers step in on this particular market, and you can see when price kind of came down, we formed a higher low, we filled the gap, and things were looking pretty bullish. Well, when price actually failed to go lower, you know, there is a kind of a bearish case for that. But my overall opinion here is that as we came back down into lows, based on previous kind of support in this area, I thought there was a pretty good chance that we would get a bounce. Now, we were correct about the bounce. And this is the frustrating part about trading, because here's the thing, right? We came down into our level. We did get a bounce. Price started to head towards our direction, but we did not quite get to where our target was, which based on my analysis was in this general area here. It would have been a plus $100 trade if price came up to our level. Now, during the time of making this video, there's quite a lot of volatility in the world of trading. So there is a degree of kind of back and forth uncertainty. And I wanted to kind of catch some of that range bound market that we were starting to see form here on CAD. Now, the other frustrating component about this trade, and again, I'm just sharing my personal opinion, that this is frustrating. You can't say that it's not frustrating when, you know, things were going right and then it just kind of didn't work out in the end. But that doesn't mean you should change what you're doing. It doesn't mean you should freak out. It doesn't mean you should, you know, get angry or, you know, have a lasting effect. It is kind of annoying sometimes, but that's part of trading, and accepting that is very, very key to long-term success. So anyways, we start to see price rise in our favor. Price makes a high right around here and then rolls back over. Well, I was still kind of long in this position, still thinking that, you know, until this range gets violated, I'm still going to maintain my long position, thinking that we could kind of head back to retest the previous structural levels of resistance. Okay, so that was the analysis behind the trade. Now, what ended up happening is, take a look. Price came down towards our level of entry once more. And again, I held my trade. I didn't freak out. We started to see price really slow down. Take a look at how kind of not decisive this market move here was. Very, very kind of just choppy down, trending market. Well, this morning, unfortunately, price spiked against us. Okay. If you'll remember, my stop was just underneath these lows here, right? So we had price come down into this area, found support, right? And basically I put my stops underneath the lows there, somewhere in this general area. Well, price came just down and hit the stop loss before reversing and heading in back towards my direction. Now, I don't know where this trade goes from here. Could it rally? Sure, it possibly could. And I might even look for a secondary trade to try and re-enter here. In fact, that may be something that I add to my kind of things to do this afternoon. But anyways, what I wanted to talk about is this sort of scenario. I know traders talk to me all the time about this. They say, you know, Nick, I'm sitting there and I have a trade and it goes and tags my stop loss just before reversing and heading back in the right direction. What can I do about this? And the short answer is there's not a lot you can do about this, because the market happens to do this, sporadically. Every once in a while you get something like this where price comes up to a level, it does respect it, but it pings through just to get all the stop losses. This is called a stop hunt. So yes, in this case, I did in fact get hunted for my stop, or at least that's how it would appear so based on the price action, right? Price shot down just to fill the gap very, very quickly, or fill the losses there. And you can see it did tag me out of my trade. So what am I going to do about this going forward? Am I going to quit, using this strategy? Am I going to change everything up? Am I going to do it differently? No, that's the point of this kind of loss and sharing this, is I still liked the setup. I thought there was a pretty good chance we could get a rollover. I didn't like the way price kind of chopped its way down here anyways. And so at a certain point, I'm pretty happy that I'm out of this trade. No big deal. I can go find another setup and move on from this scenario. I don't need to sit here and kind of dwell on this loss, because trading is not about one trade. It's about many trades. A portfolio that does well, it's not all in one, right? A good portfolio doesn't look like this, right? A good portfolio is something, again, like this, where we have slow and steady gains over time, something that is consistent, something that is kind of dependable over the long term. So again, CAD Swiss closed out with a loss. I believe I lost just about $29, $30 there on the trade. Not the end of the world. Again, I used kind of a smaller position size on this particular trade just to kind of limit my exposure with everything going on with the news that's hitting the headlines right now. So we'll see what we can get going forward. If I take another trade, maybe I'll film another segment, and maybe I'll re-enter this trade if we see some sort of price action, maybe something like, if we get a little pop above and we see some bullishness there, I might look to get involved again and try and re-enter this trade. You can always re-enter if you get another set of criteria that meets your setup. You just can't sit there and kind of, get frustrated and quit just because you have every once in a while something like this that is no fun to deal with. Guys, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed, please like the video and subscribe to the channel down below. Thanks very much. We'll see you next time.